Hello. 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 Everybody is saying hello to me. I'm saying hello to myself. I watched something from Saturday Night Live on YouTube, and it's like, it's so fucking not funny. I found that as a child that Saturday Night Live is not funny, but you watch it, and you hope that you're watching some segment that's funny, but it's like really not that funny. And you find that like celebrities aren't that funny. Then I watched Sylvester Stallone. Apparently, he's got some Rambo knife that's coming out into his online store, and it's like, oh, cares. It's weird. I find that, I've had people, I feel okay today. I feel like B plus maybe. Okay, it's 6:15 or so. Light some incense maybe. Yeah. And I found a really nice seagull feather outside. Playful energy, right? Thank you. Oops. And then these 2 sticks yesterday got me through in a way. These 2 sticks they had power on the end of them. This is not the stick I want, but these sticks here. Sticks from trees. Look at that. Beautiful sticks. I love sticks. Sticks are great. Because they're gifts from the trees, really. So I'll leave those down there for now. And I had the mouse card, like 3 days in a row. I just like, mouse. Yeah, it's moving through shock. Let's see if we get it again today. It's very rare to get an animal card day after day after day, right? And otter in Turkey. Otter is female medicine. And we have to say no to things, in life. I found that, the more people have ever attacked me, and I do get attacked. Mostly it's because I don't work. I mean, I do, but I don't give people the impression that I do. I work quite hard, actually, every day. But I work at everything that my family has ever worked at, which is surviving in this world. And when somebody attacks me, they're attacking all the work of my family. And my family, oh, got a nice shave there. That was good. I think of like someone in my aura right now, someone who is like an evil person. And I stay away from evil people. And anyone can be an evil person, depending on your level of sensitivity. And the more sensitive that certain people are, not always, but the more you can pick up, the more people will be evil to you. And women, so I had one woman where I go shopping. So it's like another example, seeing a woman regularly in a store I'm shopping in this store. And if I see a woman too often, she starts getting weird. Every time if I'm shopping and I see any woman too often, or there's a woman dominant environment, and it's like, oh, we just lost one, And she actually made a comment about seeing me in public, so I'm not even in the store, and like, it doesn't matter what it was. It's never flattering. And sure enough, like, she's gone sour. They get weird, They get weird. You can see like she's a little mole-ish, a little mousy, and they don't trust you. Which at a professional level, when you're going shopping, people shouldn't have to trust you. But women are like that. Women will not only have thoughts like I could have in my own head, but they'll act on them. They want to make a man feel like he's untrustworthy. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm imputing too much to their behavior to say they want to me. I think they just can't help themselves. I like about playing cards that you can turn it either way. I like that was a good invention. We were around thoughts that live in time. There's the ace, spades. Around thoughts that live in time. So if I like do some cards on this woman, who is an evil woman, if somebody isn't, if somebody doesn't make you feel good, let's make it simple, okay? I say I use the word evil a lot, so let's go into what I'm talking about again. It's like, oh, you think people are evil? It's like, well, I'll take it in the easiest way because I mean, this if you've lived anywhere, you may have seen this. It's that first off, people who are homeless or people who live on the streets, say every day, and don't have a home to go to, or even sometimes if they do, probably tend to talk more like I do. So that's one. But that's not necessarily a point in my favor, but just take a room for a second. But it's nice to keep it simple. So sometimes people will say, oh, something's evil as a shorthand for, they don't like something. But, or someone, oh, they're evil. I don't like them. They're evil. So this is good. If someone doesn't make you feel good, so this woman works with what looks to be her husband, a Japanese husband, and we're all wearing masks, right? And so he's the one that usually talks to me. So I get sushi from him, or I used to. And so she would have the opportunity to observe me while I'm engaged in talking to him. So she has a chance to judge and look at my body language. And some of the things that people locally, but other cultures as well, tends to detract. Like women either see me like, oh, you're cute or something, or they have very down thoughts about me because my hair is long. Or maybe it looks a little unkempt or something. And there are people who they don't feel good right away. They don't like that. And if someone's life is very much lived in order, and they're kind of obsessed with that, but they like that, they see someone who doesn't look as in order or whatever. So, but over time, I can sense things. By the time she said something, she volunteered a statement one day. I won't mention what it is. It was a question to me. It was unmistakable that this person is not really able. And I got a couple of comments from him. I just don't think they're able to be professional with me anymore, and it's unfortunate. And I think there are reasons for that aren't entirely evil, but the overall evil. A good example, like say if I were to talk to someone, like what might feel evil to you. Make it like a situational comedy. Maybe in a situational comedy, like someone told me that you're retarded, and I come up to him like, hey John, how you doing? And maybe like third or fifth or sixth or seventh time I meet you, I'm like, hey John, do you have a special place that you live? Do people take care of you? Or something that revealed that you thought I was a retard, or I thought that you were a retard. And if only just a mistaken idea about you. I've had a lot of relationships. I've had a lot of practice relationships, not relationships, but any of the number of relationships people can have, like family, for instance, where people don't have a good idea of me. So I consider now, I think that someone is going to be evil to me if they don't have a good or correct idea about me, or they've bothered to form an idea too soon, or their idea, if haphazardly put together as one might put an idea together about another person with whom you are not very well acquainted, is now slipping into their behavior toward me. Right? Everyone, especially at a professional level when you're shopping, where you might meet people whom you don't normally know, and they might meet people whom they don't. There's this idea of being professional, which means you treat everybody the same way. with respect, right? The only reason you might treat someone really different is if they're a child or if they're really old, right? Or have trouble hearing. And even then, like, it's literally, you know, not in a way that's offensive to them. So, and what I find with these two in different ways is that they started treating me differently than the way I want to be treated, in a way that I don't want to see myself, so that they see me in a way that I don't see myself. The trouble, as you or they might see it, is that the way that I present myself, you might say with culture and whatnot, leads people to believe certain things about me. Even if I don't believe them about myself, they would say, well, you shouldn't dress a certain way if you don't believe that about yourself. And I'm taking a crude argument here. But life is about energy. We tell people how to treat us. And if people don't treat us the way we want them to treat us, then don't deal with them. It's that simple. If you're forced to deal with them, then that's what you have to deal with. But do what you need to do. But I don't deal with people who don't treat me the way I want to be treated. That's become a big deal for me as I've gotten older, because I've kind of done enough. I paid my dues. I've been around a lot of people who sometimes over time you may not clue in right away. So I've done silly things, you might say stupid things. I've lived in close proximity or in the same house with people who are mentally imbalanced. Not in that way that they're getting help at a clinical research institute, but in a way that people can be unbalanced. And it's almost a more interesting, perhaps a better served subject if you come into it a little more carefully than saying imbalanced or they're evil or they're retarded or they're psychotic. And you'd say, well, to get the most out of it, you might say, well, where did their behavior become uncomfortable to you, and why do you think that is? Or if you come into close proximity or choose to live with someone as a roommate, and then you see kind of how they are and how they think about you and how they survive themselves and how they seem to want to think about themselves, let's say linked to what they do, and how they think about you, and how much time living in that place is about them and how much time is about you. So in other words, if you lived with a circus performer and they were your roommate and you both have rooms in a common area, and every day you talked about the circus. There were circus friends coming over and the circus and how great the circus was. They were getting calls from circus people and booking new circus gigs and practicing new circus tricks every day. Your whole life became like the circus, right? And it's like you work at a coffee shop and you come home and it's like, hey, I was working, I made coffee. And your life is like nothing and their life is everything, right? And you might say, well, if they live in the circus and you just work in a coffee shop, and maybe in this illustration, that would make for an interesting, if you were watching the TV show, you'd be like, hey, I like seeing this guy with his circus stuff. There's always so much circus things going on. So when I've lived with certain people, like say roommates, and how much of things is their life and how many things can be about your life. And if you talk about yourself at all and how much they think they know about you and how much you get to know about them and what you do get to know about them, and then test them and see how much do they think they know about you. So one subtle thing that people may not pick up on, well, they do pick up on it, but you don't know how to put it into words, is that say you're living close to someone and they seem to think they know you better than they do. They'll say something to you like, oh, you've told me about that before. Yeah, I know all about that. And you're like, I barely talk about that to anyone. How much have I really talked about that? I don't even remember talking to you about that. Maybe it came up on some level, right? And it's like, that's a little freaky. Okay. When someone who deals with health and healing and you know that they've had a violent background, they may not think of it as violent, that's just trouble in their family. So if your mother drinks herself to death and you're taking care of her every day in the afternoon and feeding your little brother, that's bad, right? That's bad. And the last thing Dad ever do is threaten to kill your little brother and strangle him to death. That's bad. When extended family come over to your house and they're intellectuals and they work in universities and they're writers and things like that, and most of their stories about how they almost died from drinking and passing out in mud puddles and things like that, that's bad. Okay? That's similar to my family. interesting enough. So I lived with this person, and very not exactly the same, but like you'd be surprised how different alcoholic families can be, right? Because people are different, but and yet similar, right? Not good, not good. And when you're a child and you're 6 or 7 and you're living in your home, no home is really that bad because it's yours. And this is the beauty and wonder of being a child, right? And we don't want to take that away from a child. We don't want to take that away from ourselves. The home, if you lived in a dysfunctional home, the home that you had, that was your home, people spend a lot of time, trying to prove that evolution is real or God is real or this is real. You know what's real? Is exactly what you felt was reality when you were 5 years old. Every day of your life. That's real. And the world shits on that. Sorry. But it absorbs it. It absorbs it. Okay? The closest thing is like, a TV show with Bill Cosby in the 80s where he had children on it, and children say the darndest things. Hey, what do you think about spaceships? Oh, my cat has fur. And you think, oh, children are cute, but their worlds are funny and cute. They're like the people we allow not to live in reality, and they're really cute. There's nothing wrong with the fact that children have no realistic idea of the world, they live in reality, and their minds jump from subject to subject, and they can absorb out of their tender hearts with various things. I want the world to be happy and full of peace and everyone to have food in their little stomachs just like me. Googa googa. You can get children to say things like that. That is not childhood. That's not childhood. That's not you. Right? That's the media system's impression of you as a child. Children shouldn't be on TV. And one of the reasons they shouldn't be on TV is that they don't reflect anything that you are as a child. Children, you as a child, as a 5-year-old, did not belong in front of a camera or TV. And when I've met people who grew up in front of a camera, they're all fucked. They're all fucked up in the head. They don't know how to relate to people properly, but they try to anyway, and they think they're really good at it. Something as simple as taking pictures of your children every day can harm them. Don't take pictures of your children. And I know a lot of people will complain about this. Or not complain or object, hypothetically, because no one's watching these, but taking pictures. I don't take pictures of my son. I wouldn't, if I had children, I wouldn't take pictures of them. I wouldn't. It interrupts the entire continuum of your relationship. It is a magical technological device that interferes with your relationship to your children. Taking pictures of them as a baby. Who gives a fuck about pictures of babies? I don't give a fuck what your baby looks like. I'm sorry, I don't. And you probably wouldn't give a fuck about my baby. They all fucking look the same. They all fucking look the same. It doesn't matter what your baby looks like to me or anybody. What matters is what your baby looks like to you. Oh, look, he's got a new roll of fat under his neck. That's the book you're reading. In the beginning of the book is, ooh, I'm small and sick looking. I've got colic. That's the beginning of that book. A baby isn't just what they look like. That's the whole fucking point. Pictures are just what people look like. They don't capture very much. They don't. They're extremely superficial. Cameras are extremely superficial. Why do you think I spend most of my time talking on camera? I'm not taking pictures of things, because when I'm out in nature, it's like, what's the fucking point? Right? You're seeing through a glass darkly. It can be interesting if you're interested in cameras, like, hey, what can I capture that really brings across this sense of nature? And you go outside and I'll take a picture of a tree. Hey, what do you think? I'm a nature photographer. I took a picture of the sky, right? Is every picture great? Yet nature is very forgiving. There's so much beauty in nature, you can almost take a picture of anything, right? You're like, oh, look, this is a tree beside where we were camping at the age of 6. This is a close-up of the bark. And I think there's a little ant in there, You got this person's photo book, you go to their house, and it's like, when I went to Rome, I took a picture of my toenail. Look at that. I was fascinated by my toenails. Toenails in Rome, And you could take pictures of really tiny things, and, And so what happens is that when you take pictures, you automatically focus on a different range of things than you would normally focus on while you're taking in your life. Because the camera's not a picture of your heart. Your heart is beating, taking in life. Click, click, click. And there are, photographers who wait for that right moment to get the bird when they're just opening their wings. Click. And a guy, he was selling a calendar, and he said he would camp and he would wait like 2 or 3 days to get just the right picture. Click. With his ornate camera and all this. And it's really nice, but it's like, they're just pictures. But I did like his artistry. I do. If you thought you needed a picture to tell you about nature, still, it's nature, it's grand, and maybe it's parts of Canada, but I don't have that calendar anymore, and I don't care. I'm sure there are plenty of beautiful places in Canada. I go outside every day. I can get in my car. You can go anywhere in North America and find beautiful places. Go do it. What makes that beauty important? Well, one is that you're alive. So just like you're breathing every second automatically, you should always be interested in continuing to live. What if I was making this video right now and there was a plane coming down from the sky heading right for me? So I gotta look up. I gotta check. I don't want to get so absorbed in what I'm doing that I'm not aware of my environment. What if something's going on down the hall and someone's about to beat in my door? What if there's a leak in a pipe in the bathroom and I've got 5 minutes before it blows? What if this? What if that? So right away, like if I was looking at the future and I saw someone looking at a camera and talking to a camera, I was like, are you completely absorbed in this tiny device? Is your world so boring that you have to look into this mirror darkly? And that's your life. You got hundreds of photos about your vacation in Japan. I'd love to go to Japan because Japanese people love to take photos and just be like, snap, hey, mochi mochi, hey, mochi mochi. And you see, I'm sorry, it's a stereotype, but like Japanese people, like they've got their cameras down pat, man. They must, I think the rest of the world has kind of caught on now, but man, people must have a lot of photos. Boy. And what happens to all of them? Because then, like, I'm an artist. I've worked with video and whatever, film and whatnot a little bit. And it's like, what do? You pore over them, find the best ones? Or you just like looking at them and you just get, wow, that was my girlfriend back in 19. I've never had a girlfriend. Her boobs were amazing. Oh, look at that tree when I was camping when I was 9. Oh, that tree was so amazing. Oh, there's my mom's hand got into that. Oh, there's her hand. Look at that. That's when she was still alive. Oh, what a hand she had. So photos are nothing to me. They don't tell you about the person, but they can still arouse a lot of feelings in general about that person, right? Picture of someone you care about all of a sudden from the past, it's like, oh, and you think about them, and it can, maybe photos can help when we have bad memories of people. You might think that having photos, my dad was very focused as I got older in giving me photos, because he thought it would generate nicer feelings about my family. He knew I was disaffected. He knew I was unhappy, but he didn't want to talk to me about it. Instead, he would show me a photo of my uncles and say, here, keep this. I took it and I ripped it and I threw it off the ferry. I'm like, what the fuck good is this to me? Who are these people? Right? They've never touched me. They've never hugged me. They've never asked me a fucking question about my life. They don't know a fucking thing about me. And you've never told them a fucking thing about me because you don't fucking care about me either. They're brilliant, wonderful individuals. I've enjoyed being around them as a child. They seem like nice beings. But their relationship to children is weird. And my relationship to them was clearly unrealistic, right? Apparently, no matter how much you know your uncle, no matter how many times you see him, that by the time you're 19 or 20 and you go to his house and stay there and go to school, you have to form some completely new relationship with him, unlike any you've ever had before. And that's what I find between the ages of 12 and say 21. I had to form completely new relationships with anyone in my life. I had to accept that the relationship was completely different than I ever thought that it was with everyone in my life. Does anyone else talk about this? So children, you might grow up, say, in a dysfunctional home for sure, where they're not engaging you respectfully in age-appropriate ways. about your feelings and your thoughts. How fucking complicated could it be? All you have to do is engage children with your natural interests in their feelings and thoughts. And absolutely keep aware of the health of their mind and their world. If your child says, I was at preschool today and Bubba touched me, you like, you'd start to get interested. Ooh, who touched you, right? But you talk to them. The main thing is to connect. They don't know that they're finding out who they are. They don't need to. They're completely engaged in everything they're supposed to, which is learning about themselves. They don't even think of it that way. They don't know they're learning about themselves. When I went to school, I didn't know I was supposed to learn about myself. But apparently, that's all you can do in life is learn about yourself. But not one person in billions of hours of school hours all over North America, has ever told a child that the main purpose of going to school is to learn about themselves. That every day, no matter what you're doing, that's what you're going to do. School doesn't care that you're learning about yourself. Maybe you're learning that you hate school. That would be something about yourself. You're like, oh, what did you learn in school? I hate school. Oh, you've learned something about yourself. How come children can never quit school if they don't like it? How come parents don't let, hey, you get into grade 9, you know what? You go from, say, elementary school to high school, all my relationships are different. I lost all my friends. I didn't make any new ones. That was it. The end of childhood and friendship was going to high school. It was the end of childhood for me. And